Thank you so much. Welcome to the Film Fan Club Show. I'm Sam Carrico. Boy, they really got that new season of The Crown out fast, didn't they? No, but that Oprah interview was quite something, wasn't it? Yeah, it's currently available on the CBS streaming app, and I gotta tell you, that library of theirs is kinda random. I mean, one minute you're watching the SpongeBob SquarePants movie, and the next you're watching The Fall of the British Monarchy. No, but it was a big week for cancel culture. Not only the royals, but Lola Bunny from Space Jam, as well as the Mister in Mr. Potato Head. Yeah, no, people are really upset that a fictional potato is no longer being marketed as a Mister. I'm sorry, I'm more concerned with why do the family values people, you know, I don't care if you're gay as long as you don't rub it in my face. Why are these people suddenly so adamant on making sure that I know that this potato definitely has a penis? I mean, shouldn't we be more concerned with something a little bit, more important, like drone bombs in Syria or anime in general? I mean, I don't even know what side of the Lola Bunny debate I fall on. Well, actually I do. It's whatever side that the furries are not on. Meanwhile, the upcoming Justice League Snyder Cut was briefly leaked onto HBO Max last week. Yeah, no, really. You could tell it was a leaked work print though, because it still had a color palette outside of black and gray. No, but picture this, a dad just wanted to turn on Tom and Jerry for his kids to watch, but instead he was treated the first hour of the upcoming director's cut. You could say he signed up for a game of cat and mouse, but instead what he got was a bait and switch. I'm sorry, that joke's terrible. But DC fans were pretty outraged by this. They accused Warner Brothers and HBO Max of trying to sabotage the release of the upcoming Snyder Cut. I haven't seen this much infighting since the 2020 Democratic primaries. Like I said though, the Justice League Snyder Cut is coming out on Thursday, and it had me feeling nostalgic, so I went back and watched Wonder Woman 1984 again. That movie does not hold up well, and it's only been 3 months. It picks up 66 years after the first movie. I don't know if you remember, but the first movie was about World War I, and Wonder Woman's been in hiding since, so I guess she just decided to do nothing about the Holocaust. Anyways, it's 1984 now, and Diana hasn't dated anyone since Steve Trevor died. Yeah, Gal Gadot is an incel in this movie, and for some reason I find that a little hard to believe. Don't worry though, because of the film's MacGuffin, the magical wishing stone, her dead boyfriend's soul comes back in the body of another man. Wait, hold up. Her dead boyfriend is in the body of another man? But what about the other man? Did he consent? Is the other man still conscious? Is he like underneath the surface, just barely able to watch what's going on but not control the world around him, just like the citizens that were kidnapped in WandaVision? Diana, you're a monster! Kristen Wiig is also in this movie. Yeah, because who didn't see the 2016 Ghostbusters film and think, wow, she's really menacing? Finally, Pedro Pascal is also here, playing a phony billionaire who lies and cheats his way to gain power, ultimately taking over the United States. Do you get it? Most of the performances here are either middling or downright laughable, but I've got to say, the cast seems to be having fun with this film, and that's good, because at least someone should. Okay, we've got a great show for you lined up. Ricky Saucedo and Peyton Grufick are back with us, but first, Whitney Mallett wrote an article titled The Messy Politics of Wonder Woman 1984. I brought her on to elaborate. Let's get right to it. Okay, joining me now, she is a writer and filmmaker, currently working as the deputy editor for Pinup Magazine. She is Whitney Mallett. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, and so I read your article, The Messy Politics of Wonder Woman 1984. I really enjoyed it. But I know it's been a few months since the movie has come out now. So what were looking back, what were your kind of thoughts when you saw the film?
At first I was very confused by the film. Like there's like the Kristen Wiig subplot of her just being like a dork working at a museum. And I was like, oh, like when's it going to be a superhero movie? Like, I think it's an amalgamation of so many kind of genres that, because we're so familiar with them and because they're done so like conventionally, that we like feel like we fill in these holes, but they're all just kind of like gestures that kind of like, they're kind of poorly realized little gestures at different genres or types of movies or tropes that we're used to. So it's really like, I thought it was a hot mess kind of.
You're definitely not alone there. Your article is titled The Messy Politics of Wonder Woman 1984. And a lot of more mainstream liberal-minded people might hear, the messy politics of Wonder Woman 1984. I mean, Gal Gadot is like playing a girl boss, and the villain of the film is a stand-in for Donald Trump. How could those politics be messy?
Yeah, I guess if like from a neoliberal white feminist point of view, it's great. Like it's like a girl kicks butt, but I mean, I think there's a large swath of the internet that also thinks Gal Gadot is like awful because she's a Zionist. So her even personal politics inform these really bizarre scenes, and like they just go to Egypt randomly in the middle of the movie and they're only there for like 10 minutes. Like it really is like doesn't really like forward the plot much, in my opinion. It's just like, so it's just like, yeah, let's throw in like some like really like racist stereotypes. They like draw from, you know, current geopolitical contemporary things you'd see in the news, but they're all like kind of tweaked. Right. So, you know, you have like a wall going up, but it's not like the Israeli government putting a wall up, you know, it's like, it's just as someone on the wishing stone of the movie, like an Arabic man putting the wall up. So you're like, the wall seems familiar to us, but yet they're tweaking it. So as opposed to, you know, the Israel government army, which is like military might, which is supported by the US, instead you have, you know, Arabic people doing messy things to each other and someone wearing an American flag swooping in and saving the day. So it's that part was, I think, like the most egregious part of the film, but it also was kind of just so bizarre because it was like, it didn't even, like, why did they need to go to the Middle East for like such a short part of the movie?
So what do you think is the impact for, you know, seeing these things that we know, you know, like a feminist character wrapped in the American flag fighting a Donald Trump stand-in and the wall. But what does it mean whenever these are kind of surface level things, but they neglect to go into it? Is there any harm that the film does there?
Yeah, I think so, for sure. I think also I felt like the first Wonder Woman, because it was a better product, like, you know, plot wise, it like you can get more wrapped up in the emotion. I felt like this movie, because it was a bad movie, I think that it's easier to pick it apart and deconstruct, or to me it's harder to ignore and just be like, hey, I want to like enjoy this movie for 2.5 hours. It's like when the movie sucks, you're like gonna be more being like thinking about these how things are represented, you know, what we consume culturally. It's not divorced from then like our views and our political views. So like if we see a bunch of movies where American people are being good when they're intervening in the Middle East, you know, it's going to inform how we think of military interventions that happen, you know, like didn't the Biden administration just do some drone bombing again, you know?
Yeah, in Syria, absolutely.
Yeah, so it's like, it just kind of like, it's a little bit of like propaganda, basically. I think it is. And it's not for no reason. Like, they know it is propaganda. That they if you want a big army scene with a bunch of tanks, they give you money to do that if they like your script. So these things it's not just like a coincidence. It's like a little more insidious. The more you research this stuff, you realize that it's like, people have motivations to making us watch these types of movies because they want us to support, like, you know, American imperialism. And then they also want people to, you know, it's an echo chamber kind of. And then
right.
People want to feel good about American imperialism, so let's put that in the movie, you know, like, it's like.
Absolutely. And in your article, you reference, I don't want to mess her name up, but American artist Dara Birnbaum, and her going back and remixing the footage from the television series and kind of just trying to illustrate that point, you know, and the mixed messaging of a patriotic feminist character like Wonder Woman in that case. What do you make of the various iterations of Wonder Woman, going back to the Linda Carter TV show up through, you know, Batman versus Superman? She's going to be in the Justice League Snyder Cut, and now the 2 Wonder Woman films. What do you make of the various iterations?
Well, one thing that I found interesting when I was playing this like trivia game with my family a few years ago is we had to guess Wonder Woman's weight from the original comic, and like, she was thick. Like, she definitely, like, I feel like she was like 160 something. Like, it's just interesting to think too, like, with, I'm sure that's more than Gal Gadot weighs. She represents always things of her era, right? She's gonna be like, if she's an idealized woman, that's gonna change in different time periods. Like, she's gonna, you know, in the Linda Carter's probably gonna be, yeah, like skinnier than the comic book woman. But like, I think, yeah, already Dara Birnbaum back then was kind of suspicious of, well, she was suspicious of men behind the camera putting their, you know, image of an idealistic woman, even though, yeah, okay, she's empowered, the character is empowered, like, she has, you know, martial arts skills or superpowers, but still she found it very concerning that the people making the decisions of, you know, what she'd wear and how she'd talk and how she'd act were men. And then what's interesting, I think, if we fast forward to the movies today that are directed by Patty Jenkins, they're still Hollywood movies. Like, there's still, I don't think like someone working in that Hollywood system can really make something that different. Like, great, she's a woman, but she almost just becomes like a tokenistic female director,
Right.
and producing the same like garbage that everyone else is producing. Even the first one, like, I definitely felt like I was more swept up in it, but later it wasn't as obvious to me when I was watching it, but later when I read things, I was like, yeah, that's like the evil person in the first one, the villain, it's a very like, oh, she's disabled, like, you know, it's like it's like oh, that's why she's so mad at the world, because of her disability. Like, it's a very old bad stereotype too. So it's like people are just rehashing a lot of these stereotypes. And I thought it was suspicious the amount of praise the first movie got, because like, yeah, I had fun watching it, but it was still like nothing to write home about. Like, it's a pretty standard generic film.
I remember watching the first film and loving it in the theaters, because of course it was that all that hype and everybody was like, oh my gosh, DC films are finally starting to get good. And then I remember rewatching it in late 2020 to get ready for the second Wonder Woman movie. And I was like, this isn't as good as I remember, you know? So I think that having that separation.
That's also interesting to think about, like, when movies, like the time that they come out, like, I think whatever else is going on puts everyone in a certain mood, and we're like, that movie hits because of everything else going on. And I think that sort of what happened with that first one. Everyone was really like thirsty for that empowerment, feel good, positive thing. And then but this one was so funny because I think it was the reverse. I think everyone was like at home, like it's like Christmas Day of the first like holiday season of coronavirus. Like,
no kidding.
Everyone's just like, ready to like pick something apart and give their hot take. So I think, the context around and how people are viewing something, I'm sure like at home with, you know, when you want to just kind of make fun of something versus like you're in the theaters, those are totally different experiences. Obviously too, superhero movies are funner to watch in the theater. Like the special effects and stuff, they're like fun. But then when you watch them like on your laptop at home, it's easier to be like, this movie, actually the dialogue and the plot suck. Like,
I didn't even think about that, though. That's amazing to think. I hadn't considered the fact that, whenever Wonder Woman came out in 2017, we had just had the Women's March. Everyone was ready for this empowering kind of thing, regardless of what the context. They were just ready for something to give them something that was, powerful and feminist, and, not the opposite of Donald Trump, who had just come.
We were like peak pussy hat moment.
Yeah, and then this film, everybody is just in a dark place, and then this film comes out and is like, hey, let's be fun and whatnot, and it's like, no, you can't do that. And then, like you mentioned in your article, it takes 1984 and doesn't do anything with that.
Yeah, and I think too, when you have someone like, okay, Donald Trump, and then you have this like discussion of when that movie comes out in 2017, people feel like, oh, maybe their abortion rights are maybe going to be taken away. So they're like ready for the crumbs of something. And then I think, the fact that Donald Trump probably had just lost the election when Wonder Woman 2 comes out, it's like we feel like maybe subconsciously we're in a slightly more progressive place. So we're like a little bit more critical of these crumbs of like so-called empowerment. Like, we're not as, not that I think like Biden has sexual assault allegations against him too, but there's still this idea of like kind of like neoliberal, little bit left of center, corporatized politics had won. So maybe we're all like expecting a little more from our movies when we think like, oh, this like Neanderthals in power who like might take away abortion rights. We're like, our standards are kind of lower, and we're ready to kind of cheer something on.
Yeah, it's like now we've realized as a country a little bit that better things are possible. So now we're kind of holding things to a little bit higher of a standard than maybe we did in 2017. Whitney, thank you so much for joining me today. And I look forward to reading your future articles. And of course, you're welcome back anytime.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Okay, let's meet our panel. He is a struggling actor based in Los Angeles, California. Peyton Grufik is with us.
Woo! How you doing, man?
Good to see you. And he is a filmmaker based in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Ricardo Saucedo is with us.
Hey, what's up? Good to be here.
So let's start with this Wonder Woman thing. Obviously, it's been a few months since we've seen it, but what did you guys think about it? How did we go from one of the first film, the 2017 film, being considered one of the best superhero movies of all time, to the second one being really not so well regarded?
For some reason, the trailer it looked good. The 80s vibe kind of looked promising. The cinematography looked good. And then just watching it, everything was so it was so corny. And I don't know. I was just really let down. The first one was great, I think, in comparison at least.
I'm not on that train to go as far as to say it's a bad film. I don't think it's like the worst thing I ever saw, but compared to the first one, something definitely happened. And basically all cast and crew from the first film, except for one of the writers from the first film, was on board. So I wish I could just be there on that set and see what went wrong. For a 2-hour and 31-minute film, I felt so lost the entire time.
One of the things that was a key change this time was Patty Jenkins had a larger role behind the camera. She was also, in addition to directing the first film, she was brought on to co-write this film with Jeff Johns. Going off of what Peyton said, Ricky, do you think that this change behind the scenes had anything to do with the change in quality?
The writing did feel off. It felt different. Something about Chris Pine felt really off. I know he wasn't like, well, I guess he was supposed to be like actually there because he got wished back to life, right? Kind of.
Right.
And then the whole thing with him taking over like another person's body, that was really weird.
Yeah.
I never understood how that works behind the scenes. So the only person who sees his face is Diana?
I guess so.
I don't even know if she's actually seeing his face or if he still looks like the stranger guy, but it's just a visual for the audience to know like this is Chris Pine's character. I don't know. It's so convoluted and stupid.
And then obviously Kristen Wiig plays a big role in this film. Do you think that is miscast the word that comes to mind for you guys?
I don't think miscast. I think the character was kind of just mishandled.
Yeah.
I kind of would have liked it more if, well, I know this defeats the point of her character, but like if she didn't become the cheetah, or if, I don't know, maybe they held that off, because it felt kind of shoehorned in. She was like, I want to be a, what was it? I forgot the quote. I want to be an apex predator.
Yeah.
And then, okay, she's a cheetah because she had like cheetah print on earlier or something. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
But I did like the character dynamic between her and Diana.
Yeah, I liked that. Again, I think that's a really good point, Ricky. Maybe having her be the cheetah in a potential third movie, properly setting it up first, could have been the way to go. Because, yeah, I really did like the dynamic between Diana and Kristen Stewart's character, or Kristen Wiig's character earlier on.
Kristen Stewart.
Can
that
you
would have
imagine?
been a different casting choice. But really, this is Pedro Pascal's film, and she almost distracts from
Oh, yeah. He
his
was
art.
so fun.
Takes up the whole runtime. Peyton, what did you think of Pedro Pascal in this film?
Dude, Pedro Pascal was having the most fun out of anybody in that movie. And so I couldn't help but have fun with him. Was he the corniest and most over top part of that movie? Yes. But his energy. I was having so much fun with him. Does his plan make no sense? No. But my God, is he such a fun villain to watch on screen?
Ricky, actually, you're a big Game of Thrones fan. What did you think about his translation here as an actor?
It's really great to see him to take on like different roles, and then also him doing The Mandalorian. Like he's really just showcasing off his different chops. Yeah.
And he just got cast in the Last of Us movie. Is that true?
Yeah,
That is true.
What do you guys make of that news?
I don't really have them. I'm playing Last of Us for the first time right now. So I'm sure he'll do fine.
Yeah, I haven't played it myself, but I know like everyone around me has played it, and they say it's a great story and very like character driven. So, and he's a great actor, and I think he can deliver.
With the right material, perhaps.
Right, yeah. Let's hope it has good writers. of course.
With Wonder Woman, it seems like this is something that, again, it tries to embody the 80s a little too much per se. It kind of feels like a corny action movie oftentimes. I've heard that it feels like a corny action movie from the 80s instead of replicating the best things of the 80s.
I feel like if they wanted to do that, they should have gone all the way then, you know?
Yeah,
I feel like they just kind of wanted to sprinkle it in there, like, oh, we're trying to reflect like an 80s superhero TV show or film. If they want to do that, I feel like they got to go 100% all in for that, because it did not come across that way to me.
They spent like the first like 20 minutes of the movie in that flashback scene when she was a kid. I feel like
What
if
was
they
that
want
about?
to do the 80s thing, I don't know, but I feel like it should have started with that mall scene they had. Like that would have been, I feel like that would have been better.
That sets
Maybe
up
just have
the
a
whole
flashback
tone
at
of the
some point.
movie. Yeah, I completely understand. I completely agree, because it seems like a false start there at the beginning. We think we're watching an origin story, and then we realize that has, what did that have to do with the movie?
Don't cheat.
When
Don't
did she cheat?
cheat.
And then
You're
she like, yeah,
cheating
there's
with the
nothing.
wishes. Don't
Oh,
cheat.
One thing, what do you guys think of Gal Gadot's progression as an actress? I actually thought she was a little bit better here for all the film's faults.
yeah, I did too. Again, I think it's just the material that she was given. I feel like she is a lot more comfortable with her character now, and that's coming across on screen.
I thought her performance in the first Wonder Woman and the second one, I thought she did great. The only film where I just felt like there was some misdirection and everybody seemed confused on the set was Justice League. Everybody's performance was off in Justice League, including hers.
This week is a big week for DC fans. They're getting another shot at the Justice League film. Peyton, what do you make of the Snyder Cut coming out?
All right. So I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be better. Is it going to be this giant masterpiece that a lot of people are hyping it up to be? Absolutely not. I don't think it's going to be this Hail Mary, like, oh, he saved the DC universe. I just think it's going to be a better film. That's all.
Ricky?
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I don't think that movie is salvageable to make like a 9 out of 10 or whatever. It'll be good. It'll be fun. It'll be interesting. The first Justice League, it wasn't a terrible movie. It was really cartoony. It felt really disjointed. BVS gave me like a headache, and Justice League was just like, okay, this is just like a bad episode of like a corny TV show or something. So I don't know. Do something different with it. We'll see what happens.
Jared Leto finally said the iconic line, "We live in a society." This film seems just like packed with everything that a potential DC fan could want in a movie. How could it go wrong, Peyton?
I mean, I'm just looking at Zack Snyder's track record. He's a talented guy. He's got lots of good ideas. And that's what I feel. I feel like he's kind of George Lucas with the prequels. He's got so many good ideas. He just has a hard time translating them into the writing and then putting it on screen. Because when I think back to like Batman versus Superman, there's lots of individual scenes and moments where I'm like, that was cool. That was cool. But when you cram them all together, it doesn't really make the best movie, if that makes sense. That's all I'm basing it off of. If he blows it out of the park and this is the best freaking DC film we've ever seen, oh, I'll be all here for it. I just don't think that's going to happen.
I feel like he's great to have as a producer. He seems to be really great at like adapting comics, adapting stories, Watchmen, 300, and then like parts of BVS. So it's like you do want him on the team, but maybe not on the. I just feel like there should be maybe more teamwork going around there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, that's it seems to be the approach of the DC universe going forward. Instead of having one person's vision, Zack Snyder's vision, be how everything is based going forward, they're allowing different directors to come on and try different things. Obviously, giving Patty Jenkins a lot more importance behind the scenes and whatnot. And Peyton, you mentioned earlier that this could be a great success. It could be a great failure. But what if it is very good? Are the executives at Warner Brothers going to leave this, Ben Affleck Batman, Henry Cavill Superman, completely behind, even if this is really successful?
That's a good question that I honestly don't have the answer to, because I feel like they've already kind of established that's behind them. We're not really continuing that universe anymore. But it would be interesting to see, what if this film was like some big breakthrough success and fans wanted this universe to continue? Would they go reach back to like Ben Affleck, Henry Cavill, and say like, hey, can we keep this going? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sure if they all see money in it, that they'll come back for Justice League 2 in 5 years.
Peyton Grufick, Ricky Saucedo, thank you guys so much for joining me today, and I'll hope to see you soon.
So by now you may have realized that I wasn't the biggest fan of Wonder Woman 1984. I think it's a huge step down from its predecessor that, upon further review, wasn't even that good to begin with. But there's one crucial aspect that the sequel gets right over the original, and that's the ending. As you may recall, throughout the first Wonder Woman, Diana is a fish out of water in World War I. She is stunned that humanity is capable of such chaos and destruction. She believes this must be the work of Ares, the god of war. Steve Trevor constantly pushes back, saying that people are just flawed and sometimes war is inevitable. This all comes to a head at the end when she kills the person that she thinks is Ares, and the Great War continues. I thought this was a great subversion for the audience and arc for Wonder Woman. Until the true Ares reveals himself, they have a big boss battle, and the war ends when he is defeated. So Diana learns nothing. During the press tour for the new movie, director Patty Jenkins went on record this wasn't her original vision for the first film's ending, saying, quote, "The end of the first movie was also smaller, but the studio made me change it at the last minute." Compare what we got in the 2017 film to the climax of Wonder Woman 1984. Yes, the cheetah battle is there, and it's just as bad as you think, but when she goes in for the final face-off with Max Lord, something else happens. Lord is appealing to humanity's greed, pushing them to make selfish wishes without regard for the rest of the world. Wonder Woman sees this and realizes that this is something that can't be solved by just punching Lord in the face. She takes the microphone and uses it to appeal to the good in people, recognizing that while humanity is flawed, they still have worth and can be saved, even if it's from their shadow selves. No big battle, no evil gods, just Wonder Woman's philosophy beating out that of the bad guy. Diana gets to learn a lesson, Max has a change of heart, and we can stop talking about this movie. Okay, that's our show. I'd like to send a special thank you to Whitney Mallett, Ricky Saucedo, and Peyton Grufick. Thank you, folks.